We're going to have a couple of buttons to push there. Here's one more button to push, please. Yeah, thank you. So again, good morning, welcome. We have the beautiful opportunity to practice deepening our yoga and our journey. So glad that you can be here. Let's start with a comfortable seat together. So Nandita is over there purring at the door threshold. Maybe she's delighted she's the only one who gets to be in this room this morning. But probably she doesn't think that way, actually. She's just enjoying basking right there. So this morning in our practice, I'd like to focus on an aspect of yoga psychology that we call the 6 stations of the mind. And those are self and other, past and future, likes and dislikes. So the 6 stations of the mind. The ways in which the mind is swirling either out of its center or able to come back to center. If you were to think of each of those 6 stations as a pinwheel or a windmill, right? Like when you see wind generating power stations, if you think of each of those as a pinwheel or a windmill, the mind going between self and other, past and future, likes and dislikes, is probably creating a kind of unorganized energy field, not an energy field that can be, channeled in purposeful ways. And when it's unorganized or chaotic, it's going on patterns from the past, reactions more than reflections. Sometimes I like to say reflexes more than reflections, because there are neurological reflexes as to why we go to self or other as an orientation, why we go to past or future, why we go to our likes and dislikes. So in the path of yoga, as we're looking at healing and moving our lives forward and deepening our sense of this mystery and majesty that we were born into, we want to chaperone the 6 stations of the mind, and then find that we have the more proactive or positive relationship with each of those stations. So that's part of our focus this morning for class. So please take a comfortable seat and rest your hands in your lap. You're welcome to close your eyes. I can see on the big screen that because the kittens, all of them, they blend into the carpet, I can see her tail in the lower corner there. There's a whole cat attached to that tail. There we go. She's off screen now. Okay, let's settle in and rest your hands in your lap and close your eyes. Allow your breathing to gently guide you to the present, right here, right now. And see if you can imagine these 6 mental broadcasts or stations of the mind. Then you could ask yourself if the pinwheels are spinning or relatively still, or somewhere in between. So we have self and other, past and future, likes and dislikes. Likes also means wanting, craving, or grasping. Dislike also means judgment, impatience, aversion, intolerance. So check in with each of those 6 stations. Ask yourself, from where are you looking? Who is the one seeing each of those pinwheels? Ultimately, the central view of these pinwheels is actually the inner Atman, or the self, capital S. Sometimes we refer to this along the way to the sense of Atman. We have the inner witness or the benevolent observer. So as you look at these 6 pinwheels, from where are you looking? What is the source of seeing? I'd like you to start breathing a little more deeply and spaciously. And let's imagine that you're able to gently move the 6 stations of the mind out to a little wider circumference. So there'll be a sense of space between this central you and that which you're observing. So as you inhale, ask each of these 6 stations to move gently out. You're not asking them to go away, only to be a little bit wider circumference. And when you exhale, rest into your sense of center, the place from where you are seeing. The 6 stations of the mind are too crowded, too close, too imposing, or too chaotic. We basically feel stressed and anxious, self-critical, and other aversive, caught up in past reviewing and future planning. We feel the swirl of all of that. And so asking for that circumference to be a little wider is literally a way of giving yourself some breathing room. Ask you to embody that invitation with a gesture. So bring your hands together at your heart. And as you inhale, press out to the sides of your room. Exhale, return your hands to your heart. Inhale, press up as if you're raising the ceiling on something. Exhale, big circle of the arms, hands to your heart. Inhale, press forward. And exhale, sweep the arms wide as if you were swimming and you're making a stroke that brings you forward. And then return your hands to your heart. Interlace your fingers, and now this time, inhale, press forward. Exhale, squeeze the low belly. Make the arms a little longer and more stable. Inhale, reach up and look up. Exhale, push out. Make that entire circumference now yours. Join your hands at your heart. Imagine a sort of orb or sphere that you get to make the space for your inner self to come through. So we'll chant now Sahana Vavatu. Om Sahana Vavatu. Sahana Bhunaktam Saviryam Karavali Tejasvinavaditamastu Ma Vidveshavai Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahana Bhunaktam Saviryam Karavali Tejasvinavaditamastu Ma Vidveshavai Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Saviryam Karavali Tejasvinavaditamastu Ma Vidveshavai Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Guru Pyo Namaha Hari Om. With your exhale, you may bow your head to your heart. Release your hands and open your eyes. And so as we proceed, I want to give a little glimpse into our developmental arc in Dharma and also yoga, and let's say part of that developmental arc in Western perspectives. And I'm saying part of because Western perspectives want to stop about here. So we are born in this osmotic sea of delight and porousness. We don't have a sense of differentiation, and we're not meant to. We're meant to feel the ambient feeling around us that we are that, and that is us, that we are interconnected, undivided, right? Like this. And so you're born with the kind of brain that can't make those discernments or distinctions. So you don't really have a sense of self. In the first chakra, second chakra, first chakra, we're not really getting a sense of self. We're getting a sense of our tribe. We are in the tribe. We're in the milieu. We are there. And our delight and laughter causes certain responses, and our physiological needs cause other responses. Our frustration or confusion causes a response. And at the same time, when responses aren't coming, that causes a reaction in us that we have to, in a way, cry out to get the attention or reach out to get our needs met. And so that whole process is called rhythm and reciprocity. And as that's going along, that's developing your relational field. And that's really getting started at the first chakra in this tribe. You move to your second chakra. Western science doesn't talk about the chakras. I'm putting this in as yoga psychology right now. So you move to the second chakra, and here you get to have the flourishing of your senses. And you're like, what do I like? What do I want to reach for? And you explore everything indiscriminately because you don't know what an electric socket is. Remember how you're told not to put your finger in there? You don't know what danger is particularly, because again, you don't have that kind of brain structure just yet, but you have some previous hunches about what's allowed and not allowed, because you heard about that already in your nervous system at the first chakra. Those are called flinches. You go, whoop, okay, not that. I don't want to do that. But in the second chakra, you're out there exploring, and you don't have discrimination yet. You don't have discernment. So you're checking it all out. And then you're finding out in the sense world what you like and what you don't like. So here we have liking and disliking, or aversion and grasping. So clinging, wanting, and desire, aversion, intolerance, and so on. So that's happening there. And it's getting conditioned by the people around you. Okay, so then you're coming up into your third chakra, and right about here, you start having a sense of self. You start actually neurologically developing a different brain. You can begin to take the perspective of the other. Whereas earlier you couldn't because there wasn't an other. There was just, everyone is in this jello mold together. We're just all here. There wasn't an other. So in the third chakra, at this particular stage of development, you're getting a sense of other, and other in relationship to you, and you in relationship to other. And as that's happening, it's being built upon the first and second chakra, and this first sort of arc of the development. Here you are becoming someone, and you have kind of needs and opinions, and you want to have agency and the capacity to influence your environment. You want your opinions. You're also getting chores. Maybe you don't want those chores in your household. You're like, well, I don't want to do that. That's like a grown-up thing, and I'm not yet a grown-up, but the chores are coming. You're getting a developmental stage going right here at the third chakra. And the self and other dilemma becomes more distinct to you. It becomes more known to you, but you can't quite grasp it yet because you don't have full development of your brain. But you sense that sometimes there's now explicit tension between self and other, and there's even explicit tension between other and other, between those other selves. They're having their own kind of tension, or there's explicit connection between the others and you. And so we're kind of feeling that out. This sort of self and other thing it gets sort of reconstructed at this stage because our brains change, our development is changing, and we come up to the fourth chakra, and this is where kind of the Western view starts to fall off, and we end up at this sort of pinnacle of the third chakra. Can we be somebody? Can we finally be somebody? And can we also have some wealth and power and privilege and some status? Or the struggle that we feel we're never going to be somebody, or we're always feeling challenged about basic things like self-care or self-criticism or self-confidence or self-denying. We are confused, and we can hover here in a society that tells us to be really good at this part, be somebody independent, right? And so that struggle we can end up being mired in for quite some time. But yoga recommends going to this arc where now at the fourth chakra, you sense your responsibility again for everything in that tribe where you began. And there's a tenderness in the heart, a kind of compassion and empathy that it just pulls your heartstrings. You can't say no to it. But you're looking at it from a more developed and balanced self. So it's like it's lessening your need to be somebody and increasing your need to be with and to support not just society, but all creatures and nature and life too. And then as we go through the fifth chakra, sixth and seventh, and I'm making this sound wave like this because we have less and less sense of self that we need, like the society says, be somebody. We have less and less need for that. And we are more and more resting in the indwelling osmotic sense of self, capital S, the Atman. So you're empty of the fray, this kind of intensity of concern and angst. We're empty of that, and in the fullness of the immersion, that this is where we started. We were immersed. Now we have a mature version of that immersing in. So that would be an arc of development according to like yoga. And this is just one way to draw it. Of course, yoga draws it as the chakra system going up. So you have a sense that it's evolution, which is a beautiful way to see it. And I'm using this other arc because a lot of times people have been very confused. Is this and this the same, they ask? If I give up my ego, if I overcome this cluster of angst, if I surrender that ego, which is a phrase we use a lot here in the West, am I going to return to this state? Or am I going to be in this state? And how are they different? Often beginners don't know. Well, how are those two things different? If I'm less about myself up here, doesn't that mean that I'm going backwards? And actually, it doesn't mean that you're going backwards. If you have the chaperoning and the community and the stewarding, and I would say the teachings to help, the arc goes this way, and we beautifully arrive at this sense of care and concern for the whole, and also an open hand, open heart, open mind. So on the way to that, you start taking things less personally. You're less self-critical. You're less contracted about who you think you are, who you think others want you to be. Those things fall away. And that is a beautiful falling away, because we arrive in what our Dharma or our divine presence wanted from us. Over here, we started in innocence. We didn't know we were going to go on this roller coaster. Maybe we get stuck in the loops like that, but we're coming through yoga to a resting place where you feel yourself as Basho. He's an ancient poet. He said that he sat gazing at the mountain until only the mountain remained, that he had dissolved. He sat gazing at the mountain until only the mountain remained, that the angst of him had dissolved. So that's our purpose in yoga. Just a little bit of yoga theory on Saturday morning. So I'd like us to be able to explore that. And I want to use this sense that if we make the space for the inner life, and the 6 stations of the mind are less up close and intrusive, that our minds actually do get quieter. From this place, we can then come to ask the questions of each of those stations, like, what is my work to do, my svadhyaya, my inner study to do about each of these things? But I can't really ask those questions while they're imposing on me like this, right? So please come to Virabhadrasana, which is a simple kneeling position. And if you're not able to kneel all the way on the floor, that is completely fine. I would recommend that you kneel either sitting on a block, like a bench, like this, or go ahead and sit on the front edge of a chair, whatever is helpful for you. And know that we're going to do a little bit of bowing forward. So if you're sitting up on a block, you might want to put a couple blocks in front of you so that when we come forward, you'll have a support. If you're sitting in a chair, you could have a second chair ahead of you. Okay, please interlace your fingers again like this. Press the heels of the hands forward. Sitting on the front edge of a chair, please purposely root your feet to the floor. When you next inhale, for everyone, raise up and reach your arms up overhead. And then exhale, push out. Turn your palms face up. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, Virabhadrasana. Clasp the hands, inhale, reach forward and up. So if you're sitting in a chair, you're now standing. Exhale, push out. Turn your palms face up. Inhale, raise up, look up. Exhale, hands to the heart, sit back down slowly. Now, once more, inhale, raise up. This time we're going to add the forward bend. As you exhale, push out, bring your hips back to your heels. And as you bow your head to the floor or a block or a chair, rest one hand in the lap of the other on the small of your back. And then inhale, raise up again and look up. And exhale, arms wide. And as you come down, rest the other hand in the lap of the previous. And once more, inhale, rise up and look up. And then exhale, hands to the heart. Come back down to sitting. Wherever you happen to be, so chair, block, or floor, cross your left hand over your right knee. Reach the right arm forward and inhale to open. And exhale, place your right hand behind you for a twist. It could be on the chair seat, it could be on another block, it could be on the floor. Now as you're twisting to the right, look over your right shoulder with your eyes closed. And imagine the circumference from the front of your yoga mat arcing around to the right, to the back of your yoga mat, and make that circumference a little bit wider. You're kind of granting yourself the space. So as if the center of you were like a sovereign sort of castle, a beautiful sanctuary, and you're moving the moat further and further out from the castle, giving more space for the garden. And inhale, raise the right arm as you come forward. And change. Place your right hand to the outside of your left thigh, whether you're sitting in a chair, on a block, or the floor. Inhale to open. And then exhale, place your hand for twisting. And as you're gazing to the left, even with the eyes closed, imagine once more the space that you're requesting for your inner self, the Atman. As if it were an inner sanctuary, and your breath is able to move the moat, the water moat around this sanctuary, a little further out and a little further out, more and more space so you can see clearly. And then inhale, bring the left arm around forward. And exhale, release your hands to your knees. Pause a moment and try to sense the surround space. I'm going to ask you to be on the very front of your chair again if you're sitting in a chair. And if you're kneeling on a block, put another block behind you. Reach back to clasp your hands. Inhale, roll the chest and shoulders open. Place your knuckles on the block behind you, the seat behind you, or the floor behind you, and raise up through your chest and your heart. As you're breathing in and breathing out through the nose, lift your collarbones, open your throat, roll the shoulders back, squeeze the shoulder blades to lift your heart. And now inhale, raise your arms, level your head. And exhale, side bend to your right. So place your right hand on the floor or another block or a chair next to you. Stretch the left hemisphere of the body and imagine that the circumference that we're making, it's wider than your reach, but it's enough like psychic space or personal space to let you breathe and explore. Inhale, raise up to center with both arms. And exhale, side bend to your left. Let the right hip get heavier. Breathe into the right hemisphere of your body. And imagine the reach of your right arm, like that circumference. It's bigger than your reach. It's not so far that you're going to be invisible to those 6 stations. You actually want to be able to research what's going on. That's called svadhyaya. But right now we're focusing on making the space from which you're going to be viewing. When you next inhale, raise up with both arms. And exhale your hands down to your heart. And close the eyes. And just with a few minutes of physical asana and breathing, notice the inner seer, the inner attitude of how you're seeing now. Maybe you feel a little bit less crowded by your inner broadcast. You rise up to standing and take a wide stance the length of one leg. You can bring your blocks onto your mat. So a wide stance. For each of us, that's going to be a little bit different. It's based on who we are, the mechanics of our own bodies. Sweep the arms out. So let's picture that this is a big circumference, and it's not one-dimensional, it's three-dimensional. It's bigger than what you can touch, right? In my own recovery process, recovering from the dilemmas of early life, I had this very shocking realization at one point. I was in my early 20s. I was like, whoa, who I am goes beyond the skin of my body. Like, this was a shocking realization, I'm telling you. I was stunned into this kind of mystical moment of like, oh, you mean there's more to me than just like what goes beyond the skin of the body? Somehow it was a radical moment right now. Of course, at my age and all these years of yoga, it doesn't seem so radical now, but those kind of breaking open a previous confining shell, those sort of breaking opens, that's how, I guess they're called breakings open, I don't know. That's how you sense more and more that expansion, right? It's not a breaking down, it's a breaking open. So interlace your fingers, inhale, raise up and look up, please. And then exhale, press your arms wide, reach out and come down to prasarita padottanasana. Go ahead and place your hands on your blocks if you need them, or on the floor. Inhale, glide your heart forward, raise up to your fingertips. And exhale, deeply bow towards the legs. Use the pressure of your hands against the blocks or the floor to squeeze the low belly to complete the exhale. And then inhale, raise up, arms wide, and come all the way up. Exhale, return your hands to your heart. Again, interlace the fingers, raise up, look up, please. And then exhale, sweep out and come down. You're occupying a space that is yours to occupy. You have permission. Inhale, glide forward through your heart. Lengthen the spine vertebrae by vertebrae. Please look forward. And exhale, deeply bow towards your legs. Now taking the two blocks, please walk them forward. Reach your hips back. And as the breath starts to smooth out, try to sense on the inhale, the expansion from the center of the pelvic floor. We expand the torso circumferentially, but let's imagine that you're expanding again that sort of psychic space, or the space from where you see yourself or you see life. And on the exhale, tone the inner belly, move that tone up the front line of your spine. Let's imagine the inhale as a chance to get reacquainted with the expansive nature of self, capital S. We are more than our thoughts. We are more than our sensations. We are more than our feelings and emotions. Imagine on the exhale that as you're toning the low belly, there's an inner sense of assurance or reassurance, in fact, that you already belong. Your personhood is not in question. Please walk both hands to your right. Place your hands so they're about shoulder width apart and glide the left hip back so it's like a C curve to the left side of your torso. As you're breathing in and breathing out, again, the inhale, a sense of expanding the radius, the circumference. Even you could imagine touching that sense of the self, capital S, that yoga refers to all the time. And on the exhale, an inner sense of assurance. Your belonging is not in question. Your personhood is not in doubt. Please walk your blocks to the left side. And again, we'll place the blocks so they're about shoulder width apart. Reach your right hip back. Relax the weight of your head. It can actually be a nice stretch for the neck if you look under your left armpit. Notice the pace of the breath, and in any way that you can partner with the breath to make it a little smoother. With your next inhale, walk your blocks back to the forward position. And then walk your hands and perhaps your hands and your blocks back towards your feet. And then just your hands up to your hips, and let's rise up to standing. When you come up, we'll go heel toe into a mountain pose. Come to center. Go ahead and close your eyes. And try to sense, here you are standing in this plumb line, but you can't be limited to this physical form either. You might start feeling that sense that there's kind of this inner presence and there's this outer presence, and they aren't so separate. Please take a wide stance, one leg length wide. Turn your left heel slightly out and turn the right foot directly out to the right. My hair off of my face, it's easier to see you if I'm not crowded by my hair. It's like getting crowded by your thoughts. Please sweep the arms wide. Gaze to your right, but don't forget about your left hand. So you don't just have what you see in front of you, but this entire circumference. So breathe in. And then bend your right knee. Come into warrior two pose. And in warrior two, I'm going to ask you to more firmly establish the legs by taking the hands and place your right hand at the upper crease of the right thigh and the left hand where the thigh meets the pelvis, and press down with your hands. Lift the inner body. Lift up through the crown of your skull, but not through your shoulders. And that little bit of lift you're making inside, you can think of the TED Talk about power postures or power positions, like how we stand matters, or what we feel in our posture is often influencing our emotions, and it also influences how other people feel with us or around us. So just on your own behalf, press down against the thighs, lift the inner body and the crown of your skull. And then keeping the legs grounded, let's sweep the arms wide, palms face up, raise up, hook your thumbs, and reach up in your warrior two. And imagine this space that self, capital S, is expanding into. Of course, that self has never been diminished, so we're really reaching into it. And then sweep your arms wide really slowly. Just picture this space, this sphere that you get to occupy, or your permission to be here and be a human being in process, finding your way. Keeping the legs steady, Let's inhale, raise up to center, palms to your heart. And then rotate your right foot in, left foot out, right heel slightly out. Inhale, sweep your arms wide. And exhale, bend your left knee. Come into your warrior two. This knee can be vertical to your heel. Your thigh does not need to be horizontal to the floor, but Rodney Yee style, you might want it to be. Then take your hands and press down against the top of the left thigh and at the right thigh where it meets the pelvis. And so when you press down like that, also level your hips left to right. It's not that you're 180 here, but the hip bones are level like this. Even if you have a slight angle, right, the hips are still level. And as you press down, lift the inner body. Raise up through the crown of your skull, but drop the shoulders down. Picture the strength of your stance. I'll take the arms wide really slowly. Turn your palms face up. And as you hook one thumb behind the other, change which thumb is on the back. Reach up. Notice how this changes your breathing or your sense of yourself. Not only do you have permission to occupy the space, that self, capital S, is already occupying the space. That which we are, that sometimes we say that grace or that divine which we are is already filling up, infusing. And so we're just reaching out into it. Let's go really slowly. Take the arms wide. Up to center, join your palms at your heart. Let's make the feet parallel. And we'll go heel, toe, heel, toe, heel, toe, mountain pose. Place your feet so they are hip distance apart. You may close your eyes and listen for the influence of even a few simple postures in your body. I'd like you to take a wide stance, and either you could use a chair or the seat of the chair. Interesting, where is my chair? Oh, my chair's in the hallway. Or you can use a couple blocks. I was cleaning the room, so I put the chair in the hallway, but I totally forgot. Then I remembered. And that is what we talked about last night in the Dharma group, the forgetting and remembering. Okay, so what we're going to do is place these two blocks, and I'd like you to put them kind of forward of your right foot, one medium and one tall, or put the chair to the right side of your yoga mat with the seat facing towards you. Okay, sweep the arms wide again, inhale. And then exhale and just come part way down to what we think of as triangle pose. So if you press into your back heel and firm the outer hip here, even part way down, you're using, core trunk muscles to help support yourself right here. Reach the right hand forward to the blocks or forward to the far edge of the seat of the chair. And then begin twisting to your left. So we got a little advantage there by where we placed the hand. Also that we're not going down as far as possible. We're just going down part way. I want to focus on the twist that's right here. So if you press into your right hand, rotate your right shoulder back, widen the collarbones, rotate your left shoulder back, and if you can, look up. It's okay if the left arm goes back behind you. Please keep both legs really stable. Stretch not just the fabric of the body, but also stretch your mind your mind to sense that immense presence. And then begin to look down with your head, look down to the right. Sweep your left arm past your left ear. Keep your twist to the left. Keep the left outer hip strong, please, and the left heel grounded. And now on your exhale, connect to your left low belly, left outer hip, and rise up to where we started. Relax both arms, please. Bend your right knee. Place your right forearm on your right knee. Oh, how convenient. You can put your fingers on your blocks or on the chair seat if you want to. And again, rotate the chest and heart. So if you've got your forearm on your knee, you have a pretty vertical experience from your shoulder to your upper arm, to your elbow, to your knee, to your shin, to your foot. But begin twisting to your left. And invite the possibility that the left arm and shoulder go past that vertical line. So we could stay vertical right here, and that would be architecturally fine. Maybe you're not even yet at vertical, but you also have permission to open that window farther. Now, opening the window of the chest and the heart, in other words, like the fourth chakra, we are not disturbing the lower hemisphere of the pose. Keep the back heel really grounded, your back thigh stable and strong, the front thigh stable and strong. And let the reach be supported by the stability. And then sweep your left arm past your left ear and gaze down at your right foot. Now exhale, connect to your left low belly, left outer hip, left heel, rise up to stand. Relax both arms and turn your right foot in. Make the feet parallel. Let's notice what's happening right down the left side of the body, even the myofascial region of the neck and the shoulder. Now let's turn the feet the other way. Shift your chair or shift yourself. It's easier than shifting your chair. Shift your blocks. That's probably easier than the chair. So decide for yourself, please. And that's about 12 inches forward of the foot. Good. Okay, inhale, sweep your arms wide. Now stabilize the right outer hip and outer heel. Stabilize your left kneecap and thigh, and place the left hand down. That can be pretty firm because you're going to press into it. So you've got an advantage already. The twist has already begun. So keep the lower hemisphere of the body, your hips, your legs, your feet, really stable. As you raise the right arm, you may also practice looking up. So the rotation includes your neck. Imagine the space. Kind of hard to put it into language because on the one hand, we're reaching into it. On the other hand, we are already it. On the one hand, there's a loving presence that wants us to be here fully. On the other hand, we are that presence. As you begin to look down, rotate your head to the left and sweep your right arm past your right ear. Maintain the twist, but strengthen both arms. And keep both legs stable. And with your exhale, connect to the right low belly, right outer hip, right outer heel. Raise up. And then bend your left knee. Place your left forearm. And again, conveniently, the blocks are right there. I mean, you can touch them for affection. Probably don't really need them. Okay, and then twisting to your right, please. Check that your left shoulder, left arm, left shin, those are vertical. Press into your left heel. As you're rotating your heart to the right, reach up into your fingers and try gazing up. Keep the foundation of the pose really strong, but not tense. The left inner thigh to be long, but your left knee lined up with your toes. Press into your right outer heel. And then sweep your right arm past your ear and look down. Connect to the right low belly. Exhale, rise up to standing. Relax your arms, make the feet parallel, please. And come back to just a leg length, more or less right there. And please come down to prasarita, padottanasana. Reach back at the small of your back and interlace your fingers. Roll your shoulders open. As you energize your legs, and we're in this position that's sort of a posture of surrender, you can imagine, like, what would it mean to let go of certain struggles we have with ourself, like to lighten the harassment of the inner critic, or to loosen the weight of self-doubt. Or how might life be if we practice less self-abandonment or self-neglect? If there was less self-perfectionism. Go ahead and squeeze the shoulders back, bring your chest and heart forward, rise up to standing. Relax your hands and arms and step into mountain pose. You can take one big step from each foot to come to center. You find yourself arriving in center, and the word self in this case, as you find yourself small s, the self you know yourself to be, for the sense, the presence that is larger than your thoughts. It's beyond your emotions, your sensations. And then I'd like you to take your two blocks, please, and turn to your right. And let's put the right foot forward and the left foot back. I'm just asking if I'm going to mirror you or not. And we're going to change sides. No, I'm not. In that case, I won't mirror you. I will say what is right and what is left. So put your right foot forward, put your left foot back. Now when you come down, this is Anjaneyasana. Place the left knee comfortably on the floor with a blanket as needed. Now, for those of you who have had knee replacements or other issues that this would benefit you, one option here that I really like is to take the two blankets, and so this is also for yoga teachers working with students who need this consideration. You raise the back shin, so you would put the shin but not the kneecap, and that means that when the student steps forward, their kneecap does not need to touch the floor. They are supported at the shin. So for somebody for whom there's a contraindication there, that's a way to give an adaptation. So now keeping the breath consistent and smooth, press into your right heel and toes. This is not a pose like a hammock. We're not being lazy about it. Keeping the left leg strong, go ahead and come up to your fingertips now. Make the blocks tall. Come up to your fingertips on tall blocks. Root down, raise up through your heart, and open your throat. Now, and come forward. You can tip the blocks back to medium. Put both blocks on the inside of your right foot and step the right shin back. If you're using this blanket method, then you're going to place the right shin so the right kneecap is just past the front edge of the block, and step the left foot forward. That's just a variation. You're not required to use it if it's not purposeful for you or it feels more complicated. You allow the hips to come down and forward. Connect to the breath that is breathing you right now. Every breath actually connects us to that larger mystery in life. Your fingertips on your high block. Raise up through your chest and your heart. Press down, root down to rise up. Open your heart, your throat, lift your gaze. Many of us are looking down at screens so often. What is that doing to our perception of ourselves? Come down, make the blocks medium height once again. And now step your your left foot, and I'm not mirroring you, step the left foot back to meet the right. If you're on blankets, just go ahead and kneel there. If you're not on blankets, of course, kneel right where you are. Come to basically to virabhadrasana. We're getting a sense of this surround space that we're already included in it. It's just that our perception keeps getting very confused between the self, small s, and the self, capital S. But to get a sense of this space that we get to embody, it doesn't actually take a full yoga class. We just have the joy, the privilege, the happiness to come together for a full class. But once we're steeping in it, as when you're steeping the tea bag in, once you're in it, it doesn't leave you. It hasn't left you before. It's that we were leaving it. We were the ones coming and going from this understanding, from this felt sense. And we weren't coming and going on purpose to cause ourselves difficulties. We live in a society that is causing all that forgetfulness, right? And we're crowded in by the 6 stations of the mind. So let's take another practice on the floor. I'm going to suggest that you clear out a floor space that can be yours. Put these back on the shelf. And when you lie down, just check that you have kind of a snow angel permission. And by that, I mean, you have this kind of permission. You get all this space. And this space that you're seeing me in looks a lot larger than it actually is. And that's because of the way the Zoom camera works. Maybe I look larger than I actually am, or smaller than I actually, I mean, the body part, right? Not the spirit part. Okay, please place your knees so they're bent, feet flat on the floor. Take the arms out into a T shape. Okay, with your inhale, raise your knees up. Exhale, squeeze your knees towards your chest and down towards your right elbow. We're not going to stay, so don't touch the floor. Inhale up to center. Exhale, knees towards your left elbow. Inhale up to center. Exhale, knees over to the right towards your elbow. This time, go ahead and pause there. Inhale, raise your left arm overhead, reach over to the right. Exhale, open the left arm like a half circle, reach back into your twist. Inhale, knees to center. Exhale, knees over to your left. Inhale, raise your right arm, half circle over to the left. Exhale, half circle up and over. Keep the knees stacked as you return to your twist. Inhale, raise your knees. Now exhale, knees to your right. Inhale, left arm, half circle. Now exhale, straighten your left leg and your left arm. Inhale, return the left knee to the right, left hand to the right. And exhale, half circle, open back out to your twist. Inhale, knees to center. Exhale, knees to your left. Inhale, raise the right arm, half circle. Exhale, straighten your right leg and your right arm. Inhale, return your knee to your left knee and your right hand to your left. Exhale, half circle, open to your twist. Keep the knees stacked as well as you can. Inhale to center. Now exhale, straighten the right leg out. And inhale, twist your left knee down to the right side. And exhale, rotate back to center. Raise your right knee up. Okay, inhale, left leg out. And exhale, twist over. And inhale, return to center. Okay, exhale, take the right leg out. Inhale, left knee across. Exhale, knee to center. Raise your right knee to center as well. Inhale, lengthen your left leg. And exhale, right knee across. Inhale, return to center. Bring both knees up. And exhale, touch your feet flat to the floor. Come to your starting position. So some of these movements are in the spirit of developmental movement process. We're crossing the hemispheres of the brain. We're using the reach and return reflexes. And so it kind of goes back to our first and second chakra and the development there. Notice whatever influence that has for you with your mind. And then place yourself, you can reach for your props if you would like. Let's take these two blankets. I have to get mine from the shelf again. And we're going to place them like a little bolster. Like this. Place your knees and thighs over the bolster. Tuck the shoulders under. Take your palms face up, please. I'm going to ask you now to use this sort of delicate concentration tool that we have as humans. My kitties don't have concentration. They have compulsion. They have fixation. They have desire, they have reflexes, but they don't have concentration of their own. And we do. We have this privilege, as my teacher Acharya would say. Therefore, we ought to make use of it. So from a place of loving concentration, watch your body settling down into Shavasana. Make nothing else more interesting than this. Observe all the processes happening in your body. They're happening right now. You didn't really even give your consent for those things to happen. You weren't coordinating it, but rather this larger intelligence is coordinating it for you. And so you have circulation, respiration, body temperature, digestion and lymph, the organs, the subtle body for prana, giving witness to. You observe the surrender of action and effort. Notice how your body is gently, slowly getting heavier against the ground, more limp, more relaxed. Continue to watch, to observe, without distracting your body from what it's doing. like the rest to get deeper, not just for the body, but also for your mind. Stay with the process of observing while also experiencing. Allow that process to go deep without leaving home, as it were, without leaving this inner place. Begin to wiggle your fingers, your toes. Please bend one knee at a time. Place your feet up on the bolster or the blankets. And roll to your side. And return to your seat, whether that's on a chair or a couple of blankets. The seat, make it a supportive seat for yourself for meditation. Support this development that we're talking about in yoga. When the design is illustrated with the chakras, we move from the heart, the fourth chakra, up to the fifth, where we not just feel this responsibility for humanity in the heart, but we have a duty to speak on behalf of justice or love or kindness at the fifth. And then we move to the sixth, the place of seeing clearly, seeing all that is. So we're going to do a pranayama practice to touch each of these three upper chakras right now. The first practice, you're going to inhale and then suspend the breath, and then exhale, equal in length. So inhale, suspend, exhale, makes a triangle like that. It's called upside down triangle breath, using the Ujjayi breath, please. Begin at your own timing. If your inhale is 10, your suspension is 10. And during the suspension, you snug the chin into the throat, squeeze the low belly in and up. The heart gets bigger. And then the exhale will also be for that same count. Do that for 4 more breath cycles consistently. At the end of your next exhale, and bring your hands up so that your fingers, the index finger goes above the eyebrows, the middle 2 fingers will close the eyelids. Your thumbs are going to close the ears firmly once we get started, and the pinkies are free agents. So we're going to inhale, not an ujjayi breath, just an inhale, and we'll exhale the sound of M, a humming exhale. This is called Brahmari. So breathing in, please. Do it 4 times. Release your hands. Release the practice. Raise the right hand up for Nadi Shodhana. Making the inhale equal to the exhale, please. Start with inhale left. Release with your next exhale through the left nostril. Rest your mind, the habit mind, the thinking mind. And that which your practice is bringing you home to is also doing the same for everyone else in this lesson. And that home that we come back to is available to everyone, even those who aren't paying attention. So you, the self that you are, the small s self, you've made a choice on the one hand. On the other hand, the choice has chosen you. for this practice and this path. Please raise your hands to your heart. You can sense now where you would be gazing from if you were to look at each of the 6 stations of the mind, and maybe they're surrounding you like pets curled up, sleeping. The gift of the first stage of our practice in yoga, that we come to know and trust this inner self, capital S. In the second stage, we move to the self-study, and we'll have the courage and the fortitude and the flexibility to do that. In the third stage, we move to surrender, and it will feel really natural, grace-filled. Thank you all for being here. Namaste. Close the recording so we have some personal time. Also the Facebook. I have to find it. I'm just clicking by muscle memory right now. There we go.